Hey everybody, it's Denasia today. It's time to have fun, and the video hasn't started, so it's not going to be done. Alright, so today I'm going to be reading a book called The Tiny Hero of Ferny Creek Library. It is a Sequoia book. It is really cool, and you can check it out at any of your local libraries. In the Sequoia section, it is by Linda Bailey. The ATOS level is 3rd grade in the 7th month, and it is worth 6 whole points if you have like an AR. It's fiction, and the pictures were made by Victoria Jameson. So let's start reading. Alright, The Tiny Hero of Ferny Creek Library by Linda Bailey, pictures by Victoria Jameson. To teacher librarians and children librarians everywhere who bring kids and books together and change lives. So what I'm doing, I change my voice a lot whenever I'm reading. So, yeah. I knew this would happen, said Ma. I told her, stop reading. It's dangerous. Didn't I say that? Of course you did, said Pa. But you know what Min's like. She does what she wants. Eddie crouched behind a piece of yellow chalk listening. He'd been asking his parents about Min ever since last Tuesday when she didn't come home from the library. But his mother had brushed off his questions. Stop worrying, she kept saying. Your aunt can look after herself. But now here it was, the truth. Ma was weary, too. What are we going to do? She asked, her voice rising to a squeak. There was a long pause. Eddie, just steps away, ducked even lower behind the chalk. He knew his parents were trying to have a private conversation. With so many children in the family, the only way they could be alone was to leave their home behind the chalkboard and sit on the ledge. They spoke in hushed tones, the way your parents might whisper on a balcony if they didn't want you to hear. There's only one way, said Pa slowly. I'll have to go look for her. You, said Ma, with your legs? You certainly will not. You'd never make it past the door. Eddie peered at the classroom door. From his distance, it was mostly a blur, but he knew it was a very long walk. And Ma was right. Pa's back legs were so creaky, he could barely crawl down to the floor. I have to, said Pa. Min may be hurt. She may be. Don't say it, said Ma. Oh, I could just spit. There was no need for any of this. She could have stayed home, snug as a bug in a rug. Plenty of books right here in this classroom. But no, she had to go to the library. She had to risk her life, and now she's risking yours too. All because of this foolish and unnatural habit. I ask you, what does a bug need with reading? Pa let out a sigh. Well, I don't understand it myself, but ever since we came here... Don't you go defending her, said Ma. She's corrupted Eddie too. This is the picture of, they're bugs. That's why they live behind the chalkboard. Every chance he gets, creeping into some book. It's like he's trying to get killed. I tell ya, it's a weakness in your family. This book reading, a terrible flaw. Look what happened to your father. Now it was Eddie who let out a sigh. He'd heard this sad tale so often he could say it by heart. Grandpa George had suffered a tragic death on page 131 of the Wonderful World of Oz, when some unthinking child had slammed the book shut. Poor Grandpa George, thought Eddie. He had died without ever knowing what happened to Dorothy. Ma, meanwhile, wasn't finished. It's out of the question, she told Pa. You can't go after me, it'll have to be me. Now wait, said Pa. That's not right. What about the babies? Ma didn't answer. What could she say? There were 27 grubs tucked away in the wall, depending on her care. Well then, she muttered. Phew. There was a long pause. What about Eddie? Said Pa. Eddie couldn't help himself. He jumped. Stumbling sideways, he fell against the chalk, which started to roll. He grabbed it before Ma could see, but she was far too upset to notice. Eddie! Squawked Ma. Have you lost your mind? Eddie? I love our Eddie to bits, but we both know the truth. He's a dreamer, a fool, a nincompoop. He can hardly find his way off this chalkboard. No way, no chance, no how is my baby boy wandering off through the huge, endless school to hunt for a crazy old bug who should have known better? Hush, said Pa, then he sighed. You're right, of course. This is too tough for Eddie. Darn tootin', said Ma. And besides, he stands out. Bright color like that is just asking for trouble. You know he shouldn't be out in the open. They both went quiet, thinking. The problem was, and Eddie knew it, there was no one else to think of, just their own family. Oh, they had plenty of friends and relatives out in the big woods, but only Eddie and his closest family had the bad luck to get scooped up one evening and dropped into a glass tank of dirt in room 19 of Ferny Creek Elementary School. For 2 weeks, they had been a 4th grade science project, and then came the fateful night when the cleaner knocked over the tank, dirt and all. He was only gone a few minutes to fetch a shovel, but while he was gone, the bugs saw their chance, and that was the other big story Eddie had heard his whole life. The Great Escape. How Grandma Ruth had bravely led the family away from the tank across the huge classroom and up the wall. How had she managed? With her unerring sense of direction to sniff out the crack behind the chalkboard that they now called home? But now Grandma Ruth was gone. So was Grandpa George. There were only Eddie and his parents left, and his 53 younger brothers and sisters. And Aunt Min, of course. Was she all right? Was she alive? In his entire life, Eddie couldn't remember a single time that Aunt Min hadn't come home. Someone would have to go after her. Eddie just stared at the big, blurry door. That was chapter 1. Now, the beginning of chapter 2. Come on.
My mom said take your hair down.